the Ideal Week Review training. So hopefully you've been inside the group and you've already downloaded the Ideal Week Review workbook. So there's a training template, there's a PDF with all the details on it, all the steps. So if you haven't done that already, that's totally cool. Comment workbook below if you're watching this live. If you're watching a replay, then make sure that you hit the download button below. That will allow you to get a copy of the workbook so that you can do it. If you haven't printed out already, you might want to go and print it out. Definitely, this is a doing, not just a watching sort of training. All right, so let's jump into it. The Ideal Week Review is a process that takes like 15 minutes max for your week each week. It's what is going to keep us moving forward in a powerful way in alignment with the dreams we have for our business and our life. Because here's the reality. Your business should be serving your life. It shouldn't be your life. And that's coming from someone who had a business that was her life for years and years and years and years and years. And it kept me really stuck and it kept me unhappy. It kept me overwhelmed and stressed and, let's be real, just really busy on all the wrong things. Versus now with this process in place, I work on the right things in my business and I work on the right things in my life, and things are good. Things are really, really good. I work less than half the hours that I used to do. I make way more money. I get paid what I'm worth, and you can too. It just comes down to you being really deliberate about what do you need to be spending your time on. Because here's the reality. You and I, we're businesswomen. We can make more money, but we can't make any more time. And so, especially when your time, focus, and energy is what generates the money, you want to be using it really deliberately. All right, so let's jump in. This is one process that we use. It's part of a bigger process called the Power Hour, which I love. I've been doing it for years now. It has got me from 60 to 100 hours and, let's be honest, probably $3 or $4 an hour like when I was working like that. Maybe if I was lucky, $10 an hour, right through to now where I'm $30 an hour and I'm hundreds and hundreds of dollars an hour of value being generated for me and my family every night. So it's part of the bigger process, the Power Hour. It's a game changer. This is part of it. So let me share. So what you're probably doing at the moment, and what I was doing before I started doing this stuff, is I was on call all week. I was always in demand for what everybody else needed from me and what they wanted. And so interestingly, other people want things from you that are in alignment with the things that are most important to them and the things that are most urgent to them right now. They are not in alignment. They're not asking for things that are in alignment with what they think you want and need. Most human beings aren't thinking like that. They're just thinking about what do I need and what can I get out of this for me right now. So if you're on call all week, if you're constantly on demand for everyone, well, then the realities is that you're helping them build their business or their ideal life or their ideal relationships, not helping yourself. All right. So we don't want to be on call all week. It's exhausting for starters. You are probably multitasking, and you're probably multitasking because you've been told your whole life that, oh, I'm not like a woman. You can multitask. You know, you're female, so you can multitask. Well, it's a load of crap. It's a load of crap. You can't multitask. You can't physically do two important things at once. What you actually do is switch between the tasks really, really quickly. It's exhausting for starters. That's why you feel tired at the end of the day, because every time your brain has to shift gear, it's kind of like taking your car and going from first to reverse or third to reverse, fourth to reverse without any break in between. Your brain's constantly having to switch gears and it gets really tired doing that. Also, what happens when you're doing that, especially if you're someone who's like got 1,000 tabs open in their Google Chrome or their whatever they're using to explore the internet or whatever softwares they've got open, your brain is constantly switching between those. Every time we switch, there's a cost to that. And depending on which study you look at, it's like somewhere between 15 and 20 minutes a switch. So if you think about every time you switch tasks, that's how much time you're losing. you're probably a long way away from getting to the life and the business you want, just because you're making it slow for yourself to get there. So multitasking, it's not a thing. It's a thing men tell us to keep us stuck. Not intentionally. They've been conditioned to tell us that we can multitask. We can't. You just can't. Think about it. When you're walking down the road and talking on the phone, if you got to a busy intersection and the phone conversation was important, you would either stop and wait to cross the road when you weren't having the conversation, or you would tell the person on the end of the phone, hey, just hold on a second, and give crossing the road the whole of your attention and cross the road, right? You wouldn't do both at the same time. That's how you get run over by truck, right? So stop doing it in your business. No more multitasking. Focus work on one thing at a time. Oh, you love your to-do lists, right? Super amazing tool if you could use them correctly. Unfortunately, we were all wired all wrong to use them correctly. You and I are wired to get a quick buzz, an endorphin hit, to go the easiest route between A and B. And when you write a to-do list, you get a buzz from ticking things off. Hey, I know, because I've been guilty of writing my to-do list and then at the bottom putting 2 things on there that I've already done just so I can tick them off and get the buzz, right? Here's the problem with that, is because we are rewarded chemically inside our bodies when we tick something off our to-do list, we do the things that are fast and easy, always, off our to-do list, because we get a hit of chemicals in our body that feel good. And so we do those things and we tick them off, and we continuously do the fastest, easiest things on our to-do list. So if that's what's happening to you, and it probably is, it means that the big, important tasks that actually change games in your life and in your business sit on that to-do list forever, because they're never the fastest, easiest things to do, ever. The right thing is never fast and easy. It might be simple and it might make things faster further down the track, but they're always bigger and heavier than those quick, easy tasks to tick off. So you get stuck in the never-ending to-do list because you're just constantly ticking off the easy things and never doing the other things. It doesn't help you. The other thing I hear all the time is, oh, but Sarah, you don't understand. I'm just getting started. We're in startup mode. We're in launch mode. We're in da-da-da-da-da-da. I have been in business for 15 years. I have a never-ending to-do list, and it's not about the age and stage that I'm at in my business. It never changed. There was always more tasks than time. That does not change. I'm sorry to break it to you. What you do get as you get further through the journey is you get better at figuring out what actually is important. And if you haven't figured that out yet, then this is absolutely for you, because your to-do list is keeping you stuck. You want to throw them away, do something different. So first of all, we want to make sure we're setting the stage each and every week to make sure that we're working on the right things at the right time. If we're not really clear about what that looks like, and if we're not doing it from a really good vibe, then we're probably not going to be working on the right things. What I mean by that is that your brain uses more of it when you're in a good space. So when you're stressed or overwhelmed or frustrated or angry, insert any of those sort of emotions, you lose half of the brain function that you normally have, there or thereabouts, right? So you're using half what you should. Versus when you are calm, when you're focused, when you're content, when you're happy, when you're vibrant, you have access to all of your conscious brain. So in that, coming from a place of consciousness, of knowing and using the whole of our brain, we are going to get better outcomes, because we're going to make better decisions. We're going to have better thought processes. We're going to be more creative. We're going to be more innovative. So we want to set the stage. We want to do this from a high vibe place. And we want to know that we're doing it in alignment with the right things. So the stage needs to be like, hey, this is what we're trying to achieve, and here's how we're showing up when we do it. It's really important that we realign. We pre-flight pilot here is planning where they want to end up. And so if you haven't already, you need to know where you're trying to go, and you need to know where you're coming from. And if this is something that you don't know, then you need to spend some time. Like, what's probably the number one thing I see is that women in business, they've kind of got to the point where they feel like their dreams aren't possible anymore. And it's not true. Your dreams are totally possible. The business that you dreamed of is totally possible. The problem is you've kept it in here. Stop keeping it in here. You've got to share it. You've got to get it written down. You've got to know exactly what it looks like, that destination. You want to be clear about what X marks the spot is for you, because otherwise you can't get there. And more importantly, when you know what X marks the spot is and you know where you're at right now, then you're going to have to constantly realign with that destination. It's like being a pilot. So when you take off, you know, I'm going to Fiji. But when I get up in the sky up there, there's going to be some wind. There might be some bad weather. There might be some turbulence I need to fly around. The same thing's going to happen in your life and in your business. Let me promise you. When you think you're getting going and things are going really, really well, shit's going to come by and knock you off that flight plan towards that dream life and business. That is totally normal and absolutely okay. Your job as the pilot of your business and your life is to realign with Spot X, to realign with that ultimate destination. So you've got to spend some time doing that each week when you're reviewing. Ooh. And then instead of that old funky to-do list, we're going to get chunky instead. And what I mean by that is instead of just having a whole lot of tasks, we're going to start chunking the time for each of those tasks. There is zero point having a list for this week that instead of taking 168 hours is going to take 432 hours, because you're not going to get it done. There is no magical wand I can give you that will stuff that much work into a normal work week. So we're going to get smarter about how we do this. We're going to chunk out our week. We're going to chunk it in chunks of time so we can actually physically use it in the right way and not feel demoralized by the time you get to the end of the week that you've not achieved anything. So you're going to get chunky. So you need to know where you're going. So if you haven't already created that ideal life, that ideal week, you should do that. I did a training the other week on this. So you can go and have a look. If you head into, if you're not already in the group, Business Freedom for Female Business Owners, go and find that group. And inside there is a training called the Ideal Week Advantage. And that talks about how do you create this destination. But what I want to talk about is how do we evaluate each and every week? Well, it's really important that you know two important things. You know your highest life priorities and you know your critical success factors. So in your life, you have things that matter most to you. You should know what those are. Again, if you don't, there's some trainings in here called the Highest Life Priority Navigator. You should go and figure out what matters most to you. And if you want some help, reach out. Let's have a chat about it. Let's figure out what matters most to you. So I'm going to use me as an example. So I'm going to say to you, my highest life priorities are me. Took me a long time to figure out that I need to go first, but there's a whole story behind that, and we don't have enough time for that today. But you know, I have a highest life priority that's love. My marriage, my husband, he's really important to me. My third highest life priority to me is being a mum. You know what? Yeah, I chose to have children. I chose to have a child, should I say, and being a mum and being a great parent and having that relationship with Scarlett is super important to me. Then comes my business, and then comes my treasure chest, right? So each week when we're reviewing, we want to give each of those highest life priorities a score out of 10. We also want to give our critical success factors a score out of 10, right? And you never have any more than 3, max 3 critical success factors in your business. My critical success factors are sales. So for me, that's creating content. And 2, delivering a great experience to my clients experience. And then lastly, my critical success factor is leading and coaching and nurturing my team, right? Nowhere in there does it say emails or meetings. Just saying. All right. So then we want to give each of those things a score out of 10. And so I'm just going to give you an example. So last week, for my intimate relationship, I'm going to give myself a 4 out of 10. You're going to go through and score everything, but I'm not going to for today. Just showing you how. 4 out of 10, right? Yeah, it's pretty average. What I don't want you to do is aim to get 10 out of 10. Again, overwhelming, stressful, perfect, blah, 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 makes your life really hard. Instead, we are going to look to what are the 2 actions that would get this up to points. And I'm like, you know what? I didn't appreciate on my husband enough this week. I didn't tell him when he did things that made me feel loved. I didn't appreciate him when he did things that really helped me out and made my life easier. So I'm going to text Johnny, appreciation and love daily. And that's probably going to take me like 5 minutes times 7. I'm going to, we need to have a date night. So I'm going to, date night, I'm going to take responsibility for booking that in, right? If I did those 2 things, my highest life priority of love would go up 2 points. Same thing with sales. So potentially last week, let's say I was pretty rubbish at sales last week. Let's say I gave myself a 2 out of 10. What do I need to do to move that up 2 points? Well, if it was a 2 out of 10, I wasn't even doing the fundamentals right. So I am going to, maybe for one task, I'm going to, thank for engagement. And 2, I'm going to follow up past clients. That would get me up 2 points, because if I follow up with past clients, it's potentially something I can help them out with. And if I thank people for their engagement, I'm starting some conversations, and conversations is just a sale, right? So that would move me up 2 points. So you can see over the week, I'm like, what are the 2 things that would move me up in alignment with what are my highest life priorities and what are my critical success factors in my business? And then once we've done that, then we want to do the other 2 steps. We want to realign, which is what this process is. And then we're going to get chunky. And so we're going to chunk down everything, put some timing on it. If there are things on there that we're not going to get done, we want to do the ideal week review piece, which is to dad things. We want to either delete it, automate it, or delegate it. And I'm going to say to you that there should be 9 things on this every week when you get started. As you get better at that, it will drop off. So just a quick recap. We want to make sure that every week we're setting the stage. You want to do this from high vibe, high energy. Can you feel my energy today? It is good place. I am in a good place before I start reviewing my week. I do not want to review my week from, oh God, that's been so shit, so tough. I work so hard. I don't get, it's not working for me. Don't come from there, right? Feel the energy shift, right? That is not a good place to plan your week from. You are not in your best self. You are not engaging all of your brain. And you need all of your brain to make good decisions. Your business is an intellectual game, not an emotional sport. So get yourself in a good space. You want to make sure that you're realigning. What are your highest life priorities? What are your critical success factors that you have decided will get you to your ideal business and your ideal life? And you need to realign with those each and every week so that you don't get distracted, so you don't let turbulence knock you off, so you don't let the wind blow you off course, so you don't let the weather rain on your parade, literally. You are going to have things that knock you off track. That's totally normal. It's probably going to happen each and every week. Your realignment piece is what keeps you on track, right? We know that a straight line's the fastest version from A to B. We can't always make that happen. Let's just check in and realign and get back on that place. And then get chunky. Take those chunks that you think will move you up 2 points in each area and put them into your calendar and get started. Now, if you haven't already, make sure you've got a copy of the workbook, comment workbook below, or if you're watching the replay, you can, somewhere on the page, there'll be a little download button, you can grab that stuff. And of course, if you're like, oh my God, Sarah, I have no idea what my critical success factors is, or I have no idea what my highest life priorities are, reach out. I'm more than happy to jump on a quick freedom game plan with you and figure out what those things are for you so that we can start moving you forward to what you want in terms of your business. Like I say, any questions, of course, drop them in the comments below and I'll come back to you. And I look forward to hearing how your week reviews are going in the coming days and weeks.